Ever pulled an all-nighter or survived on 4 hours of sleep and felt like your brain was literally smaller the next day? Like your thoughts were rattling around in a hollow space, and your ability to remember a simple name was just gone? Most people think of sleep as a luxury or a passive off switch for the body. We tell ourselves we'll catch up on the weekend. Welcome to Dr. Levitas. But here is the terrifying clinical reality: skipping sleep isn't just making you tired. It is physically erasing the memory center of your brain. Every hour of lost sleep is a direct assault on your neurological hardware. Today, we are going inside the skull to witness a process that sounds like science fiction: the sleep-deprived shrinkage. We are going to see how your brain literally washes itself, why your nightcap is a neurotoxic trap, and how you can stop your memory from being deleted. Please take a second to like the video and leave a comment. Your engagement is a huge help to the channel. Let's start with a discovery that won the 2013 AAAS Newcomb Cleveland Prize. It was a study led by Dr. Maiken Nedergaard that changed everything we know about neurology. Here is the question: why does the human brain actually shrink in physical volume by up to 60% during deep sleep? It sounds counterintuitive. Why would an organ want to get smaller? To understand this, imagine you're trying to clean a crowded nightclub while everyone is still dancing on the floor. You can't get the mop between the feet. The trash stays under the tables. Your brain is the most metabolically active organ in your body. All day long, while you're thinking, moving, and stressing, your neurons are creating trash, metabolic byproducts. When you enter the deepest stages of non-REM sleep, your brain's glial cells, the support cells, actually shrink. By contracting their volume, they increase the interstitial space, the gaps between your neurons, by a staggering 60%. This contraction is a deliberate, biological maneuver. It's the brain pulling back the furniture so the cleaning crew can finally get in. If you don't reach those deep sleep stages, your brain stays swollen and crowded, and the trash has nowhere to go. Once those gaps are open, the real work begins. How does this shrinkage open up the glymphatic system to wash away the day's toxic metabolic waste? Think of the glymphatic system as your brain's dedicated sewer system or a high-pressure dishwasher. While you're in deep sleep, your heart and your breathing slow down, creating a rhythmic pulse that pushes cerebrospinal fluid into the brain tissue. Because the cells have shrunk, the fluid can now flow freely through the gaps, hosing down the neurons. What is it washing away? Specifically, it's clearing out beta amyloid and tau proteins. These are the exact same toxic proteins that, when left to accumulate, form the plaques and tangles associated with Alzheimer's disease. A 2024 longitudinal study published in The Lancet Neurology confirmed that even one night of total sleep deprivation leads to a measurable spike in beta amyloid in the brain. You aren't just foggy the next day. You're literally walking around with a brain that hasn't been washed. It's like leaving the dishes from a massive banquet in the sink for days. Eventually, the kitchen becomes toxic. Now, let's talk about your hard drive. What specifically happens to the hippocampus, your primary memory center, when cortisol stays high all night from tossing and turning? The hippocampus is a delicate, highly sensitive part of the brain responsible for taking the short-term memories of your day and shipping them to the long-term storage in the cortex. This process is called consolidation. But there's a catch: the hippocampus is also the brain's cortisol sensor. When you are sleep-deprived, your body perceives a state of emergency. Your adrenal glands flood your system with cortisol, the stress hormone. Normally, cortisol should drop at night to let you rest. But if you're awake and worried, that cortisol stays elevated. Research from the University of California, Berkeley, led by Dr. Matthew Walker in 2017, showed that chronic sleep deprivation leads to physical atrophy, actual shrinking, of the hippocampus. The high cortisol levels inhibit neurogenesis, the birth of new neurons, and can even trigger cell apoptosis in existing memory cells. When you skip sleep, you aren't just forgetting where your keys are. You are physically damaging the machinery that allows you to learn anything new. We've all heard it, a glass of wine helps me fall asleep. But this is one of the most dangerous myths in health. How does it completely paralyze this brainwashing cycle, leaving you with toxic buildup the next morning? It acts as a sedative, but sedation is not sleep. When you drink before bed, you are essentially knocking yourself out. You might fall into bed faster, but your brain architecture is shattered. This is one of the most potent suppressors of REM sleep and the deep non-REM sleep required for the glymphatic system to function. A 2025 clinical study found that this prevents the glial shrinkage we talked about earlier. Because your brain is busy metabolizing the toxins, the cleaning cycle never triggers. The CSF doesn't flow, the toxic proteins stay stuck, and the hangover you feel the next day isn't just dehydration, it's the physical sensation of a brain that was never washed. You're essentially sleeping in a room where the janitor was locked out. This is a section for anyone who has been told they saw logs at night. Why is snoring or sleep apnea causing microstrokes that silently punch holes in your brain's white matter? Snoring isn't just an annoyance for your partner, it is often a sign of obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. When your airway collapses, your blood oxygen levels plummet. Your brain, the most oxygen-hungry organ you have, begins to suffocate. To save your life, your brain triggers a jolt of adrenaline to wake you up just enough to breathe. You might not remember these micro-arousals, but they can happen hundreds of times a night. These repeated drops in oxygen cause what we call leukooriosis, small, localized areas of cell death in the brain's white matter. These are essentially microscopic strokes. A 2024 paper in the Journal of Sleep Research highlighted that untreated apnea is directly linked to a loss of structural integrity in the brain's wiring. It's like having a house where the electrical wires are being chewed on by rats every night. Eventually, the lights start flickering, and your cognitive speed slows to a crawl. If we want to fix this, we have to look at our environment. What is the precise room temperature, 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius, required to trigger the deepest phase of this brain repair? Your brain's sleep-wake switch is actually a temperature switch. To initiate sleep, your core body temperature must drop by about 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. This is why it's much harder to fall asleep in a hot room than a cold one. When your environment is around 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius, it facilitates this rapid thermal dump from your skin, sending a signal to your hypothalamus that it's time to trigger the glymphatic system. At this temperature, your body can reach the deep sleep stage much faster and stay there longer. A 2023 study on thermoregulation and sleep quality found that sleeping in a cool room increased the efficiency of the brainwash by nearly 20%. It's the most powerful low-hanging fruit in your health arsenal. Turn down the dial, and let your brain do its work. After all this shrinkage and damage, you might be feeling a bit anxious. But here is the most important part. How quickly can the brain regenerate its volume once you fix your sleep hygiene? The brain is the most plastic and resilient organ we have. The process of neuroplasticity means your brain is always trying to heal. While you can't make up for years of lost sleep in a single weekend, research published in Nature Communications in 2025 showed that consistent, high-quality sleep can lead to a measurable increase in hippocampal volume and white matter integrity within just 3 to 6 months. When you prioritize sleep, you're providing the growth factors and the cleaning service your brain has been begging for. You start to see the return of your mental sharpness, your emotional stability, and your ability to learn. You aren't just sleeping better, you are literally growing a healthier, more resilient version of yourself. Here is the doctor's verdict: protect your mind. We live in a culture that treats sleep like an enemy to be conquered, but in reality, sleep is your greatest ally. It is the architect of your memories, the janitor of your neurons, and the guardian of your future self. When you choose to go to bed, you aren't just calling it a night. You are making a profound investment in the longevity of your mind. The sleep-deprived shrinkage is real, but so is the sleep-driven rebound. Don't let your memories be erased by a lifestyle that doesn't respect your biology. Protect your brain. Build a cozy room. And give yourself the rest you have earned. I want to hear from you. What's the one change you're making to your sleep routine tonight? Let me know in the comments below. Stay sharp, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Sleep well. Watch this video suggestion, it was especially picked for you. Please share, comment, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thank you, it helps a ton with the algorithm. Remain tuned for future videos and keep growing.